Premium Brands Holding Company, in its presentation to investors, say that the benefits for the Micmac Coalition purchasing 50% of Clearwater is a, quote, strategic long-term relationship for the sale of inshore fishery catches, end quote. Can the minister advise the House how her department plans to ensure that only in-season DFO regulated lobster harvested in the inshore will be enforced?
The Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, our government welcomes the collaboration between industry and First Nations to grow our Canadian seafood industry. This project represents a positive step in building strong partnerships between Indigenous communities and the commercial seafood sector. We're continuing to work with all our partners in the seafood sector to promote sustainability and productive commercial fisheries across Canada. Madam Chair, this of course is a relatively new deal. We are still doing our due diligence on this new purchase, and we will continue to do the work we need to do to make sure that we are protecting the Canadian fishery.
Honourable Member for New Brunswick Southwest.
Now, the other day, the minister complained I was putting words in her mouth. She complained the Leader of the Opposition did the same thing tonight. I would ask the minister to get away from the talking points and answer these questions. Last year, Parliament passed Bill C-68, which amended the Fisheries Act. Conservatives supported elements of these changes because they enshrined into law two key principles: the owner-operator and the fleet separation policy. This legislation exempted First Nations from these provisions. The proposed Clearwater buyout sees 100% of Clearwater's Canadian licenses being held by FNC Holdings, a company 100% owned by two First Nations, and those two First Nations are exempt from the inshore fleet separation and owner-operator regulations of the Act. Will the minister put as a condition of her approval on the transfer of these licenses, which she is entitled to do, that FNC Holdings will not be able to acquire inshore fishery licenses contrary to the spirit of the law passed last year?
The Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I'm quite glad my honourable colleague brought up the Fisheries Act and the modernization of the Fisheries Act, because, of course, that had to be done because the previous government, of which he was a member, absolutely gutted the Fisheries Act. They took away fish protection for fish and fish habitat. We put that back in. Madam Chair, with regards to owner-operator, this is something that I have been committed to since the first day I was elected. We are working towards making sure that we have those regulations in place. This is something that's critically important to our rural coastal communities, and I'm going to continue to work to make sure that we address it.
The Honourable Member for New Brunswick Southwest, less than 2 minutes.
So thank you. And so will the minister make that a condition that the owner-operator fleet separation will be maintained under this new Clearwater deal, that the company is not going to be able to use this new partnership to get around the provisions that legislate owner-operator and fleet separation, and the inshore fleet will continue to own those licenses and they will be operated as the law outlines?
Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, as I said, the previous government actually gutted the Fisheries Act. It was our government who put provisions back in place to make sure that we addressed owner-operator, to make sure that we addressed the protection of fish and fish habitat for the long-term sustainability of the fishery. Madam Chair, we take no direction from the Conservatives when it comes to making sure that the Fisheries Act is where it needs to be. We've made sure that we're doing everything we possibly can to address fisheries in Atlantic Canada and on all coasts. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Member for New Brunswick Southwest.
Minister, you're back on your talking points. Folks out east know the steps that the previous government, as well as this government, took to ensure owner-operator fleet separation was first enshrined in regulation, cleaned up, and then passed into law. We're looking for clear answers on this. Are you going to ensure that this corporate deal does not gut the owner-operator fleet separation policies and the inshore fishery will continue? Don't give us talking points that sidestep the question. Give us an answer. Fishers back home are listening and hanging on to every word because their livelihood's at stake.
I will remind the member that I cannot answer the question, but the minister will be able to.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, it's our government that actually enshrined owner-operator in legislation. It's our government that put owner-operator in the Fisheries Act as legislation. Madam Chair, this is something we are committed to and we will continue to be committed to. The regulations are ongoing and we will make sure that this is